This is your host, Amanda Fowler, and you're listening to Just Man's the podcast, the place where I empower you to be who you are, say what you want, and do what you dream. Here you'll find candid conversations surrounding the complexities of life, everything from womanhood, career, and self-growth to friendships, relationships, and opinions that feel a bit taboo. But I'm not just here to offer you tips and tricks to figuring it all out. Fuck that. I'm here to talk about it all. The shit that nobody wants to talk about. To air the laundry without it feeling dirty. Think of this as conversations with cool people and brain dumps that I decided to share with you instead of my journal. Because oversharing is kind of my love language. And if it's yours too, we'll get along just fine. I feel like a freaking princess. If you are listening to this episode on Spotify or Apple, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're on YouTube, I am wearing this big navy blue ruffly dress with like a Skims little white tee underneath and my cowboy boots. So I feel like a Western princess. I have some like little elastics in my hair. I feel like I'm going to the Eras tour. That's kind of what this vibe is giving. But really, I am going to work. I have had the most whirlwind of the past few weeks. I am currently apprenticing in my new job and I'm loving it. And one of my favorite parts about the job is that I get to dress up. I have to look chic, but like not normal retail chic. It's almost like fairy chic, like really playing around and dressing up. And like I feel like at this new job that I'm at, it's almost kind of the vibe where nothing is too much, which I love because I get to play around. And also, me being an Aquarius, I just like reject anything mainstream or anything that I'm told, really. And so like the fact that I have a new job and I'm loving it and I get to dress however I want, like there's like a little bit of dress code, but I get to express my creativity through my fashion. This is just literally the perfect job for me is what I'm trying to get at, is like, not only does it feel really creative and entrepreneurial in its own way, but also I get to dress up and express myself creatively. So if you're not watching on YouTube, I just gave you a lovely little vision of what I look like right now. But yeah, the past few weeks have been a whirlwind. I also have been taking some time off of social media, not like completely off of it. I took a full week off and then I popped back on to share some things for the podcast and then also like some outfit stuff because again, like I said, my new job, I've been popping off with the outfits and I've been really trying to get creative. Let's talk about this for a second. I tried Nuuly for the first time. So I'm going to a wedding at the end of July and I was like, you know what? I do not have the funds to just like drop a ton of money on a gorgeous gown right now. So I'm like, what can I do? How can I maximize my efforts and my money? And I got introduced to like Run the Runway and I was like, okay, I'll try Run the Runway. And I got on it and I did not like anything on Run the Runway. And so I completely like immediately canceled the membership, like signed up, canceled it in the same day, like emailed them like, actually, sorry, I don't want to do this. And then my friend Anna told me about Nuuly. And so I signed up for Nuuly and oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. Like the clothes on Nuuly are way more my speed. They're fun. They're elevated, but also creative and just feel different. And so I got a few pieces from there. I'm actually going to buy one of the dresses that I got because I guess you get like a 60% discount, not even on like the retail price, but on the Nuuly price for some of the dresses that you get. Because I guess if you like the dresses, you can buy them and then that's when you get the discounted price. So I'm going to do that for the one that I'm wearing for the wedding because I actually ordered it too early and it's a little too big, but they don't have a smaller size. So I would have had to send it back before the wedding even happened. And it was also too big. So I'm just going to buy it and then get it altered. I actually need to make a note to do that soon. This dress is Nuuly and I was going to wear this for one of the nights for the wedding, but my other dress is ruffly. I'll have to show you guys. If you guys probably know, I'm going to Jason and Sydney's wedding because Lucas is actually the best man for Jay. And I'm so excited to celebrate Sydney and Jay. They're just such a power couple. And she's so she's so funny. She literally sent me like this Pinterest board that she made of wedding guest attire. And I was like, thank you. Because this wedding is up north and it's a summer wedding. And I don't really know what the vibe is. Like, I've been to plenty weddings. I've been in weddings. I've been guests of weddings. And to be honest, I've never really loved the dress that I've worn. And this time I'm like, you know what? I want to show out. Like, I really want to be able to wear something that screams like I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of want to show up for the occasion. And so I'm so happy that Sydney sent the little like Pinterest guest board, because I was like, okay, this is giving me life. This is giving me a lot of inspiration. So I got this beautiful ruffle dress that I cannot wait for you guys to see. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to wear for the welcome party. I'm thinking a shorter dress. I got a shorter dress from Nuuly, but I didn't love it. So I'm going to send this one back after I wear this to work today. I'm going to send this back, this order back, everything but the ruffle dress. I'll get the ruffle dress altered, and then I'm going to get another welcome party dress, and then probably a couple other things either that I can wear to work or that I can wear for the wedding weekend. But I've been loving Nuuly, like 10 out of 10. And you guys know I'm very much like a vintage secondhand girly. I really do not, like, if you go through my closet, it's probably 75% my mom's clothes, 10% things from closet swaps or my friends giving away their clothes, and then like the other 15% just like random shit that I've accumulated over the years. And I don't know. I have way more of like an affinity for worn pieces that are timeless, pieces that are eclectic, pieces that tell a story, that are unique versus like off the rack. I also feel like if you're finding something in a vintage store and you're drawn to it, or a thrift store and you're drawn to it and you really like it and you try it on and you love it, it probably means that it's better quality than what's being sold at the stores right now. Because sometimes I go into like Zara and I'm like, this won't even last me a year. You know what I mean? It could just be me, but I feel like it's just fast fashion 101. I don't know. So I've been loving Nuuly, and I feel like it's a great way to play around with like staying in that like secondhand realm, but also accessing things that are maybe on the rack or more current. So I love it. And I'm definitely going to be doing it more often. It's also great because, again, like with this new job that I have to dress up. I have to look presentable. I have to look really cute every single day that I work. And my closet right now is a little bit bare. So I'm loving that I can like go on there. I can get some outfits for work and I can play around. But other than that, I feel like I kind of gave you guys a synopsis on my Instagram about like what's going on with my hormones, naturopath, all of the things. And I'm not going to bore you guys with all of that information again. If you don't want to hear it, let me know if you guys want me to do another episode on everything with my hormones and naturopath. But long story short, my DHEA levels are really low, which basically points to high cortisol for a really prolonged period of time, and then your cortisol just kind of plummets, and then that means like your DHEA has been kind of reduced over time, and then your DHEA is what produces like your estrogen, your testosterone, all of your sex hormones. So then my estrogen is a little low. And so I found all of this out through a Dutch test that I did with my naturopath. And really what this is pointing to is that I need to work on my stress levels, and I need to really support my hormones, and I need to keep supporting my liver, because detoxification is also just really good, because that's how your hormones kind of just get flushed out. So I am currently working on that. I'm taking like I think it's omega-3s pills during my follicular phase, as well as this rosmarinus like tincture. It's basically like rosemary extract. And I take that for my liver. So I take those two in my follicular phase. And then in my luteal phase, I'm also taking evening primrose oil and then that rosmarinus again. I feel like there's one more thing that I'm taking that I'm forgetting. I can't think of it right now. She actually sent me a link to this like stress support thing. And then my other friend Liv, who is liv.ingwell, so living well on Instagram and I believe TikTok. She's great. She's got a lot of fabulous tips and information as a nutritionist. And she sent me this like DHEA supplement that I'm going to probably start taking, because here's the thing that I was talking about with my naturopath and with Liv. I feel like I do all the things, right? Like I eat really well. I exercise. But the other part of that is like my sleep definitely could use some work, and it has been getting better. And then the other part of that is my stress level. So it's like, if you look at it on like a nutrition and fitness face value, I'm doing great. But my lifestyle is hectic. I got my cortisol results back, and my cortisol in the morning just completely skyrockets, like off the charts of normal levels of cortisol upon waking. And then mid-morning, I plummet, I crash. And it's probably because my kids are waking me up first thing in the morning, and, you know, I'm not having that time to myself, and they're jumping on our bed and hitting each other and screaming and crying. And I'm just like, good morning, my little angels. Like, it's not the most pleasant way to wake up. The other part of that is like, okay, do I wake up at 6 a.m. and sacrifice an hour of sleep just so that I can wake up before them? No. I talked about that with my naturopath, and she was like, no, if you can choose like sleeping over waking up early, I would choose sleeping over it any day, because sleeping is where your body is going to actually like do the most restorative things for like your body, your cells, everything internally. So it's kind of like this catch-22. How do I maintain my lifestyle where I have two crazy kids under 4 years old, and I also have a job because I have to make money, and I also have my dreams that I want to pursue? Like, how do I balance all of these things while also not burning myself out and causing myself to get sick? Like, that's the real question. That's the rub. And I'm trying to figure it out. I think really what has been helpful is to be off of social media, because I find that at night is when I will usually scroll. Like, I'm not a big scroller during the day, but like at night I will scroll. And so not being on social media, not having the apps on my phone has really been helping me to not do that and be able to go get into bed at 9 p.m. and then get to bed at a decent hour. So I'm still figuring it out. I think the supplements are helping. This month I had like a 27-day cycle, which is really crazy because I usually have like a 30 to 31-day cycle. I don't know if that's the supplements or the fact that I was off of social media or the fact that I started a new job. So I was kind of just like really focusing on like my job and my health and my sleep. I don't know, could be a combination of things, but I'm figuring it out. And let me know if you guys want me to do like a full episode on it, because I think I can give you more detail there. But I wanted to record this episode before I had to head into work, because I want to do some should I give a fucks with you guys. I have been not recording episodes for like the past 2 weeks because I batched a ton of episodes before I started this new job, in preparation for starting this new job, because I realized that I was not going to have a lot of time to record the podcast when I started this new job. I only have 2 days off. I work weekends, and I also want to be able to spend time with my kids and my husband. So I batched some episodes, and I haven't sat down and done a should I give a fuck in a really long time. And I'm excited because you guys showed up with the should I give a fucks. Okay. So the first one: deeply love my boyfriend, but he's somewhat insecure and requires constant reassurance. There was actually a lot of like relationship things I feel like here in this one. And I think that speaks to, I'm going to butcher this. Astrology is something that I'm into, but I always butcher. And I feel like Saturn was just in retrograde. I could be wrong, but I know that something was really heavily influencing relationships this year, specifically the last few months. I have to check with my friend Ashley, and maybe I can like edit this before I uploaded it and give you guys like the actual science or the actual astrology. But a lot of like relationship things are coming up, not only for people on Instagram and social media that I've seen, but also in my personal life. For me, for my friends, just everybody, relationships are kind of taking a hit a little bit, and really just like our problems are kind of bubbling to the surface. Okay, so deeply love my boyfriend, but he's somewhat insecure and requires constant reassurance. Should I give a fuck? Yeah, you should give a fuck, because I think that there is this misconception within relationships that we're supposed to always feel secure the second that we get into that relationship. And that's not true. People have pasts, people have trauma, people have insecurities, and we're all human. To think that someone's just supposed to drop their baggage at the door once they enter your home, that's just a little naive. And I think that that's also not giving people enough grace. I think that we are all human. We come with our baggage. And if you're getting into a relationship, you have to accept that baggage, right? Now, that doesn't mean that it's not hard to welcome someone into your home and have them unload all their shit. Okay? That's hard. If you deeply love this person, I think it's worth it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being like, hey, I'm willing to work through this with you and help you through this journey of insecurity. But at the end of the day, these insecurities are yours. They're yours to work through. They're yours to pinpoint the root, the truth behind these insecurities. It's yours to go on this self-growth and self-discovery journey through, not mine. And I will hold your hand through it. I will help give you the reassurance, because that's one thing that I feel like in relationships is not talked about enough. It is okay to give people reassurance. Now, there's a difference between somebody needing to know that they're loved and that you love them and you want to be with them every single day. That's not what I'm talking about. But if people are having insecure moments, you should be giving your partner reassurance. It feels good to get that reassurance. But if you are finding that these insecurities and these, you're having to reassure this person every single day and they're not doing anything to work through these on their own, that's exhausting. And I feel like you need to set a boundary with yourself and your partner and be like, look, this is what I'm signing up for. This is what I'm willing to give. If I'm not seeing X, Y, and Z progress with you, I don't know what to do anymore. Nothing wrong with giving like a little bit of an ultimatum in a way. But yeah, definitely give a fuck. I think it's normal. Okay, one of my best friends and sister-in-law is giving up all of her hobbies for a guy, changed her whole personality, and she won't listen to the family about our concerns on his behavior with his kid he just found out about. Wait, what? One of my best friends and sister-in-law, so your best friend is your sister-in-law, is giving up all of her hobbies for a guy, changed her whole personality, and she won't listen to the fam about our concerns on his behavior with his kid he just found out about. Huh. Okay. This might be hard to hear, but no, you should not give a fuck. And here's why. Because you're gonna care. This is your best friend and sister-in-law. I think I'm confused on the sister-in-law part. Anyway, this is a person that is in your life and you deeply care about. But you can't give a fuck about this because she's not going to listen to you. One thing that I've learned through raising children is that you cannot control other people. I also read the book, The Daily Stoic, and I think it was in Atomic Habits as well. But there is this thing called like what's within your circle of control, right? And the only things that are in your circle of control is you and the way that you react to things. That's it. You can't control what other people do. You can't talk sense into some people. You really cannot change the way that people think if they are not willing to hear it out or be receptive to that help and that support. So all you can do is tell your friend that you support her, you love her, and you trust her, and you will always be here for her. However, there's a boundary. There's a line, okay? You can also be like, look, this is the way that I feel. This is the way that I feel. I'm going to be honest about it. This is how I feel. And I love you and I'm here for you and I will always be here for you. But I need you to know that I don't support this. I support you, but I don't support this. So I'm going to figure out how to navigate this relationship with this being a thing because I do not condone this. However, I want to be there for you. So you figure out what that looks like for you. Maybe that means that you don't let her talk about this guy around you. Maybe you guys don't even talk about it. You can say, look, I want to be there for you. I'm unwilling to talk about this with you because she's not going to listen to you and it's only going to cause resentment between you two. So if you don't want that to happen because you don't want to lose this person, you need to put a boundary in place and be like, look, I don't support this. I support you. Therefore, we cannot talk about this because you know where I stand on it. And that's it. Okay. My boyfriend is unemployed and plays video games. Do I dump? I don't see him trying to find a job. Should I give a fuck? I think the fact that you literally said, do I dump, means that you should. I feel like if this was a person that you actually cared about, you wouldn't even use the word dump. So my gut is telling me yes. Also, I just have a thing about video games. I think people who play video games are just like a special type of breed, and they're not my tribe, not my kind of people. So already there is just like a no for me. Also, I have a problem with people who are unemployed and not having drive behind that unemployment. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being unemployed. It's hard out there right now. It's hard. It's a hard life. But I think that there's something wrong with playing video games while being unemployed. It's like, go find a job. Go out there. Print your resumes. Inquire with your network. Get all your resources together. Go make connections. Go take coffee. Like, go be driven. Go do something out in the world. So that's my problem with all of that. And if you don't see him finding a job and you want to dump him, I would just dump him. This is your permission. Maybe just play him this video. Okay. This is a part 3. Introduced a friend of my sister's to my friends because he just moved to my state/city. I hate him and he's abducted my friends, hangs with them and talks about them like they're BFFs. It pisses me off. He gives me no gratitude and my friends always talk about him. Grr. Should I give a fuck? Girlfriend, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you no, you shouldn't give a fuck. I know, and I know that's so annoying. I know that's really fucking annoying to hear. But here's the thing. You did it to yourself. Like, if you were the one who introduced this person to your friends, he's allowed to make friends with those people. And also, your friends are allowed to hang out with him. I think that at the end of the day, this is just really annoying and unfortunate, but it's not wrong, you know? And so, first of all, I'm actually curious why you hate him. Like, I'm wondering what it is about him that you hate and why you would even introduce him to your friends if you hate him. But also, I don't think there's anything wrong with being like, yeah, I understand that you guys hang out and I understand that you guys, you know, are friends now. I don't like him. Don't like him. And also just want to make it clear that like we're friends and we were friends before. I don't want this to be infiltrated by him. So if maybe we can just not hang out with him when I'm here and then you guys go do your little butt buddy things, that's totally fine. Maybe do that. But I hear you, because I've definitely had friends where I've introduced a friend to somebody and then they've like hung out on their own and like I wasn't 100% cool or in love with the person that I introduced to my friends, but they still hung out. And at the end of the day, like, it's weird, but it's not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, your friends are allowed to be friends with people, and who knows, you know, like who makes you the person has all this like high and mighty power to stop somebody being friends with somebody? Because you never know, they might have like a divine connection. You know, maybe they probably don't, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, that's not on us to stop that. But I hear you. That is really frustrating, but I wouldn't give a fuck. What I would do is I would set that boundary and say, we're not hanging out with him when I'm here. And also when he's with them and they're like going and doing their little thing, I don't know, like painting pottery or something, you do you. You either hang out with your friends, if you're dating, hang out with your boyfriend, your other friends, I mean, or have like a little self-care night. Like, do you? Okay. I'm about to give birth any day and asked my mother to come the following week, and she's now saying she's coming the same week, which I didn't ask for. This would really bother me. You should definitely give a fuck, because what people don't realize is during postpartum, it is a very roller coaster phase, but it's also really vulnerable. Like, you are at your most vulnerable during postpartum. And I don't just mean like emotions. I mean, like, you're probably naked. You're probably breastfeeding. You're probably sweating. You're probably smelling. You're probably bleeding. Like, that's not really something that you want to have a lot of people around, especially if you're not like super close with your mom where like you're cool with her seeing all of these parts of you. I also feel like moms tend to sometimes be a little bit like, what's the word? overbearing in the way that maybe their parenting style doesn't align with yours, or maybe they can be a little too like suffocating. There is just some things with moms and parents in general, or people in general, that, you know, you just maybe don't want to have around the first week. And I had both my kids, one during COVID, one like kind of post COVID-ish. And like we were pretty much out of it, but still like it was kind of COVID-y. And both times I had like a week of just kind of being with me and Lucas for like, you know, in the baby. Like that was it. Like it was just us. And while it's nice to have the help from outside people, it's also really nice to establish that sacred bond with you and your immediate family. So I totally get this. And I would give a fuck, because that's not cool. It's like, this is the problem I think sometimes with moms or parents in general, is like you tell them what you want as an adult, like you make an adult request and then they like overpower that in a way that makes you feel like you're inferior to them and they're establishing their dominance over you. And it's like, this isn't fucking cool. Like, why are we doing this? So I would just say, you know what? I really hear you in the fact that you want to come the same week. However, I asked you to come the following week, and I would really appreciate if you can do that. If that's going to cause more of like an argument than not, then I would advise you to pick your battles. Like really, really sit with the fact like, okay, this is really fucking annoying. Acknowledge that. That's really annoying. Not cool. Okay. But if it's going to cause you more anger, frustration, sadness, argument, to tell her to change her trip now and like not come when she is planning on coming, then I would just try your best to let it go. You know, and that's even shitty that I'm having to tell you to be the bigger person when you're the one going through postpartum. But I've been there where it's like, sometimes you can't get through to people, and sometimes you really cannot change people, and you can't, like, they're not going to take responsibility for their wrongdoing. So it's almost like you got to just pick your battles and ask yourself if this is actually worth fighting for. And if it is, then absolutely put your foot down and be like, this is my house. This is my birth. You're not coming that same week. You're coming after. We'll change the locks. Okay, last one. If your bestie's boyfriend did some shady shit to you and her, but apologized to you both. If your bestie's boyfriend did some shady shit to you and her, but apologized to you both, should I give a fuck? I need more information on this shady shit. Because what quantifies shady shit? I think there's like a spectrum for sure. I would give a fuck though, because one of my core values is honesty. And if my boyfriend, who I consider like my partner to be the closest person to me, if my partner is doing something shady to not only me, but also my best friend, that's a red flag. And you can ignore it. It's probably going to come up again. So I would really tackle this in like a holding him accountable way. I think that there is something to be said for an apology. Like if the apology was genuine, we have to forgive, but we don't forget. And that's something that I am very firm on. Okay. I think that there is something about forgiving, but not forgetting, because you can't, like you have to remember why there is this boundary, or why there is this new shift in energy, right? Like you have to understand that you can forgive, but you can also remember. Do you know what I mean? You can remember without holding a grudge, because that's the separating factor. Is like you don't want to go into your future holding a grudge about something, but you also don't want to go into your future being like blind to like all of the shady shit that happened to you by this person in the past and letting them continue to walk all over you. So you can forgive, but you can't forget, and you can't also hold a grudge. So I hope that made sense. But what I'm saying is, if the apology was genuine, yeah, accept the apology. I think that's step one. Don't forget though what happened, and hold him accountable. So make sure he's like, you know, understands your like limit. Like, hey, if this happens again, I'm out. Done. Like literally no coming back. I think that second chances are always warranted in my book. Third chances, not so much. So maybe give him a second chance. And then from there, figure out what the boundary is for you. And if he crosses it, he's done. That was so dramatic. Okay. Those were all the should I give a fucks. And I feel like, again, there was a lot of like boyfriend things, a lot of like relationship things. I'm going to figure out that astrology for you guys, and I'll probably leave it below in the show notes, because I really do feel like this year has been a big one for relationships. Like just a lot of things coming up, a lot of things within partnerships and connections that are coming up. So don't feel bad if you are experiencing that. But thank you guys so much for listening. I will see you guys next week. Bye.